Yay, it's Fat Anna again.
Stop it! Cut it out! I have a glandular problem.
Thanks for joining on another one of these videos. This locomotive I've done a review of before, and I'll put a link at the end of this video and you can watch the review of it. What we found out then was that it runs really well, and it's quite a solid locomotive even though it's quite old. The previous owner has given it a different paint job and painted it green for some reason, but we're going to try and restore this back to what it should be. I'll put a couple of pictures on screen now of what it should look like, and this is what we've currently got in this green colour. So in this video I'm going to take it apart and hopefully get all the paint off using some paint stripper, and then it might need some other additional paint work done. So we'll see how we go. That's the plan for this video. So first thing is to get this model apart. So that's everything taken off the body and it's ready for some paint stripper now, but we also need to do the chassis. The previous owner has painted most of it black, but it should actually be red like what we saw in the pictures. So I'll need to take that apart and do some paint stripping as well. So that's the next step. So while we've got this apart, I'm just going to give the motor a bit of a clean first. Okay, I'm pretty happy about where we are with the motor. It seems to run really good. So I'm going to put this aside and we'll get on with the next bit. So these are all the parts that we need to get the paint off of, and I've absolutely no idea how I'm going to get this locomotive back together, especially that valve gear. It looks so complicated. But for this next bit I'm going to try this Revel paint remover. I've never used it before, so we're going to give it a try on this project and see how we get on. Okay, let's leave that for a bit and then we'll wash it off and we'll see where we're at. The Revel paint stripper seemed to be absolutely useless for this job. I don't know why it wasn't working, but I reverted back to my Tesco multi-surface cleaner and left this in it overnight and it worked a treat. So this is where we're currently at. It's looking pretty good. All the green has gone off that model now, and I've even sanded down where it had the moulding mark on the roof and across the top of the boiler. I don't like that, so I've sanded it off there. So I think these parts are now ready for paint. I'm going to start off by painting all the parts that need to be red, and I'm just going to actually use this red car spray paint and see if that'll work. So this has worked out really good. I'm quite impressed about how well this has come out. So the next step we have to do is a bit of black paint work, and this part here on the front of the chassis is painted black, so I'll need to mask this off and paint this. And of course we need to get the body painted as well. So next step is some black paint. So we've got on pretty well with the black paint. This is looking really good now. I used this Humbrol acrylic spray to get the black on here. I can start work on the lining on the valve gear, and for that I'm going to be using this Humbrol acrylic. It's actually Satin 174 red. So I'm not particularly happy about how that paint went on. I don't think it's quite right. Maybe this paint is really old or something, but it just wasn't going on correctly and it's a bit blotchy around the edges, and I've gone over the lines as well. So I'm going to have to scrape back some of that overspill. And I don't think I would recommend this red Satin 174. It just didn't seem quite right. Anyway, still work to be done. Well, I've been working on these for a little while now, and I think they're kind of okay. They're not brilliant, but I think they're good enough. Still not convinced about that paint though. So we're going to start assembly of the chassis now, and these parts here, part of the pickups which are attached to these little studs which I've cleaned the paint off of, I'm just going to glue those on with a little bit of super glue just to keep them in place as we do this. So that'll be the first part. Then I'm going to take off some of the paint here so that it makes a good connection with the bottom of the motor here, and then get that part put on, and then we'll see how we go. Forgot to put the middle gears on. Got them in now. Well, that's one side done, and my god, I've got so much admiration for the people that worked in the factory making these, because that took absolutely ages and it was a real faff to get that together. So now I've got the other side to do. Well, that took absolutely ages, but I finally got there and I've got all the valve gear on it. Now just to add some more bits and pieces onto this. Well, I think that's the chassis back together and it still works as well, so that's great. So we're back on to doing the bodywork now. I actually had to hand paint all the red lining around this, and that was a bit of a pain. One of the things we're not going to be able to do on this model is pick out the numbers of this locomotive, because the previous owner kind of filed them down a little bit. So that's a shame we're not going to be able to give this its numbers, or at least not highlight them. You can see all the little handrails there. They've been given a bit of a clean with the Dremel, so they can go back on soon. We're also going to make the coal matte black rather than the satin black, just to make it look a bit more coal-like. So we'll give that a coat of matte black and then add in all the handrails. Just a little dry brushing on the coal there just to make it look a little bit better. Well, we're definitely on the home straight now. All the metal work is on the body now, and we could actually put this back together and it'd be fine. But I did say I was going to do an LED conversion on the front of this locomotive, so that's the next step. So here are the LEDs and the resistors which I bought recently. There's another video on my channel about who I bought these from. If you're interested, check it out. The idea now is to get 2 of these into here and wire it all up, and hopefully it'll work. Well, this is certainly a dodgy circuit. I've just held it all together here to make sure the circuit works and I've got it around the right way, so we'll give it some power and see what happens. Well, it actually worked, I can't believe it. I didn't blow them straight away. So now I know that they're both in the same alignment and they're both going to shine white or they're both going to shine red. So I've just temporarily wired it up like this just to check whether the polarity is correct for the lights so that they are white when it goes forward. And I've actually found out that it's not this way around, it's the other way around. So it's quite good to just test it before I did anything else. But now I have tested it, I can get it wired the correct way around. So here's where we are at just now. I've wired it up to here with this resistor, and then that runs underneath here. And you'll see that I've actually packed this with a little bit of blue tack, which I'm going to paint black. Now I did that blue tack just to stop any light coming down onto the track. So I'm just going to tidy this up with a little bit of black paint, and then hopefully we can get this back together, and then we're good to go. Just by chance I managed to find this little guy in the spares box, a little driver hanging out the window. So I've decided to put him into this locomotive to disguise the motor inside it a little bit. He has been painted already, but not very good, so I'm just going to repaint him a little bit. Well, I think that's better, and certainly brighter. Let's get him inside the cab. But first, some glazing. Today's glazing came courtesy of this little sliced cheese package, and we've managed to get the windows in there, no problem at all. Now to get our little driver in as well, I'm just going to use some super glue for this. So now I think we can actually get this back together. One last thing I wanted to do was put little jewels in the back here on these lights. I didn't put LEDs in them, but I did get all these jewels from Temu. So I'm going to put 2 of those into here. Well, here we are. Fat Anna is done, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Just one thing left to do is to test it out, so let's put some power on and we'll see it running. Well, that's great. It works perfectly and I'm really happy with that. Now, on this video, it might have looked as though the white and red lights were flickering. It's just a video in the LEDs. In real life, they're fine. They're not flickering at all. So I think this has been a really enjoyable project. It's taken me actually about 2 weeks to get this done. So even though this video seems quite short, it actually took me 2 weeks. But there you go. It was good fun anyway. And it's quite a transformation. I'll put a before and after so you can see the differences between the two. So what have we learned as we've done this? Well, one of the things I think is Humbrol red paint isn't very good. Having a little project with an older locomotive is really good fun, I think. And the condition that Fat Anna was in when I got it, it was only worth about £20 or even less than that, I think. So I would say totally go for it if you want to have a shot at doing something like this. It's an enjoyable experience, frustrating at times, but I think once you get a really nice model at the end of it, you can be really proud of it, and it's something uniquely yours as well. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Fat Anna now. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around, and on screen in a moment there'll be a link to another video. If you click that, I'll see you over there. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See ya!